What's going on, guys? This is my post-ride review of the Yamaha R1. I gotta send a huge shout out to Hunter Tommy and the rest of the gang over at Stub Cycles for allowing me to throw a leg over this machine and bring it to you. In the description below, you will find a link to the ride-along video. That way you can see this machine in action and you can catch my reactions to it in real time. So let's dive into it, guys. I gotta tell you, R1 did not disappoint. Just like you guys, I was dying to hear this engine at full song. With all the videos that I've seen of this bike, it just sounded so amazing and so different from the rest of the group. But to be able to experience this bike in real life with a Toshi exhaust system on it, oh my goodness, yes, it's better than could have ever possibly been advertised. So now that that's out of the way, because any words or any video that you're watching will never do the noise that that bike makes in any kind of way justice. The bike itself. Okay, so at first blush, when I sat on the R1, eerily enough, it didn't really seem like it fit me all that well. And when I started to ride the bike, just to kind of get acquainted with it, it was kind of strange. It was almost like a switch went off. And I immediately gelled with that bike. It became one of the most comfortable motorcycles that I've spent any real amount of time on, which is strange. I mean, I typically don't snap gel with a bike when it comes to fit, but the R1 is a completely different animal in that respect. And talk about living past a set of expectations. I completely went against what I thought this bike was going to be just from an ergonomic point of view. Now, the actual riding of the bike, well, it's a leader class sport bike, super sport bike at that. So it's got all the chops, it's got all the power. In terms of the clutch engagement on this bike was a little bit sharp, and it was taking me just a minute to work through the friction zone on that clutch. It would go from being disengaged to engaged rather in a narrow band. But once I got that sorted out, it was second nature and I didn't even think about it anymore. But it was just the first impression of that clutch, and that's something that I had to work through. Not that big of a deal. The other part of this bike that I kind of had to get used to was how the throttle mapping was. The throttle on the R1 was relatively soft in its power output at very low inputs. And by the way, I was riding this motorcycle in mode A, so the most powerful, and with all the nannies turned down as far as you can turn them down without turning them off. In that mode, the throttle was really kind of a breath of fresh air when it comes to these leader bikes. It was very soft on the initial turn, and then you would get past this one little area and it felt like it had a quick throttle at that point. It would really start to ramp in the power. And it seemed to work really well with the power band of this bike. I found that when I was on the highway with this machine, and with as smooth as that engine runs, with no buzziness in the pegs and no real buzziness in the handlebars either, you would just kind of slowly roll into the throttle and it would start to pull power in quickly. And then next thing you know, this crescendo coming out of that exhaust of that cross plane 4, paired with this big chunky hit of mid-range torque, would just shove you forward. And it's addictive. It makes you want to play with this bike in much the same way that a V4 in that Aprilia that I rode was. It was just part of the theater of the bike, and it turned something mundane like just trying to get from point A to point B into an event. And I'm not trying to say that for effect. I found my inner kid coming out a lot with this bike. And the more time I got to spend with it, the more that kid was letting loose. Because I would just be cruising down the highway and just find myself just rolling into the throttle. And you get this nice little shove forward and you're doing 65, 75 miles an hour down the highway. And a mundane traveling experience gets turned into, well, it gets turned into fun. And that's really what the bike was really good at, was making the overall riding experience much more than just riding the motorcycle. Now, in saying that, again, being just shy of 6 feet tall, 32-inch inseam, I was able to have the balls of my feet comfortably on the ground. The bike felt light. One thing I did notice about it is that it is, if you compare it to a GSX-R 1000, it feels a little bit slower to tip in. I think part of that has to do with the rear tire on this bike. It has a 190/50, and with a 190/55, I think that would change the complexion of how this bike likes to tip in. But that may also start to trigger a possible issue with the rider aids. Now, this is where me and the R1 become a little bit cross, pardon the pun. Here's the thing, I had this motorcycle in, again, full power and all of the nannies at the lowest setting that they can get to. And I still found myself triggering those nannies with this bike. And even in situations where I really wasn't pouring the coal to it super hard, there were times, a little bit later in the video, where I was really trying to get a little bit more of I wanted a little bit more playtime out of the bike, if you will. And it immediately started getting into more of a predictive algorithm with, stepping in and giving you the little slap on the wrist, even before you got a chance to pull off anything questionable. So in saying that, I feel like the electronics are a little bit overly intrusive, but that's not to say that that's a bad thing. In fact, it's really more the trend when it comes to other motorcycles that are using these more predictive systems. So in saying that, it's keeping with the times. But you can turn all that stuff off, and if you consider yourself more advanced, you'll probably have already turned those off if you own this bike anyway, at least some of those rider aids, especially wheelie control. This bike has the kind of chops to where it is absolutely so playful, especially through the mid-range, that, yeah, wheelies are a foregone conclusion with this thing. It's really good. But in saying all of that, what is my overall impression of the R1? God, far better than I thought it was going to be. So much better, in fact, that I'd even made the comment that if that bike gets a little bit too long in the tooth on the floor of the shop, it might have to end up being added to the stable. I liked it that much, and I wanted to spend even that much more time with this bike. It's incredibly endearing to ride, and with all the extra theater that this bike brings to the table, it's kind of hard to deny its effect and its presence. And so because of that, I gotta say, of the bikes that I've ridden this year, this one is the most surprising. I started out not really liking this bike too much, both from an ergonomic point of view and from just an overall spec point of view. It's kind of moved into one of my favorite bikes that I've ridden this year. And that happened all in the span of about 10 minutes. So with that, guys, post up your comments. Let me know what you think. If you made it this far in the video, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It helps the channel a ton more than you know. But with that, guys, I hope to catch you on the next one. Take care.